Old Main. Beacon of Hope. Mother of Mothers. The logo of the University of Arkansas. Formerly University Hall, Old Main was the first building constructed at the university. It is no surprise, then, that it has had a huge cultural impact on the Fayetteville campus. Other buildings constructed early on in the life of the university were residence halls. These central hubs of campus activity have also helped cultivate the spirit of Razorback Nation. In this documentary, we will explore the history of the construction and culture of residence halls at the flagship institution for the state of Arkansas. The first three residence halls built at the U of A were for the gentlemen on campus. Buchanan Buck Hall, built in 1888, Hill Hall, constructed in 1901, and Gray Hall, erected in 1906, were where the men on campus called home. This presented a challenge for the women on campus, who had no housing of their own. Under a heading titled "Why Girls Leave Arkansas," an appeal for housing for women on campus stated that there were only 128 young women at the university, and that more than 300 Arkansas girls are going out of state every year to secure the advantages of higher education. After some debate, the university decided to appropriate $50,000 to build the first female residence hall. Ella Howison Carnell, the university's first female faculty member, serves as the namesake of the first female residence hall built in 1906, called Carnell Hall. It now serves as an on-campus 5-star hotel and restaurant. In the 30s and 40s, Razorback Hall, later called Gibson Hall, Gregson Hall, and Holcomb Hall were built. After that came Gladson House and Ripley House in 1954. To round out the first century, Humphreys, Yoakum, Hotz, Reed, all similarly designed, and Pomfret Halls were constructed in the 1960s. Now that we have taken a snapshot of the history of the construction, let us take a look at how these residence halls helped promote a Razorback culture at the University of Arkansas. We will focus on areas such as domestic life, co-educational fraternization, and school spirit. College marks a significant transition in a young person's life. No longer bound by the constraints of mom and dad, college students are given the ability to live on their own and grow as a mature adult. One of the first life skills that every college student has to learn is to take care of laundry duties. No longer was mom around to clean and fold their laundry. College men and women had to figure out on their own how to keep their whites white and their formal wear crisp and clean. Students also had to check their own mail and cook their own food. With more responsibility came more autonomy, and students would hold community dinners often. Studying can be a very mentally taxing thing, so students found many ways to take replenishing study breaks. Coke machines became popular hangout spots, and students could hardly pass up a chance to soak up the warm summer sun and Ozark breeze. Sometimes, students would find other things to study besides academics. One unique feature of cramming dozens of students into a living space is community grooming practices. Students gathered together to get ready for the day ahead. Men could share tips and tools of the trade when it came to getting a close shave, and women could mix and match hairstyles. All of the grooming served a purpose. They wanted to be presentable for the opposite sex, and residence halls provided plenty of opportunities for co-educational fraternization. Academic studies did not take up the entirety of a college student's experience. Campus socialization had long been a key facet in university life, but the cultural climate has changed considerably since the late 19th century. In the early days of Buchanan and Carnell Hall, students of opposite sex were not allowed to socialize outside the classroom. However, social norms changed throughout the years, and men and women were able to spend time and develop their social lives. Students at the University of Arkansas love music. Sometimes played by themselves, and sometimes on the radio, sometimes solo or in groups. With the help of music, students were able to cut loose and dance. College was a time for youthful exuberance. For the competitive and cerebral students, community lounge areas served as popular spots for games of chess, checkers, and cards. If students wanted to relax and take a mental break, they would often gather around the television and watch programs together. In the early 1960s, Humphreys Hall and Yoakum Hall were constructed, and the students were given a choice that would affect the residential culture for 50 years. After the construction of Yoakum and Humphreys, administrators had some money left in the budget. They gave the students of these two residence halls a choice. They could have individual phone lines for each room, no longer having to share a community telephone, or they could have air conditioning. The women of Humphreys chose individual phone lines, but the men of Yoakum, who had the hot summers fresh on their mind, opted for air conditioning. Due to this choice, Humphreys Hall did not have air conditioning in its rooms until 2010. On particularly hot nights in Humphreys, students have been known to have slumber parties in the study lounges, which are equipped with air conditioning. Now that we have looked at social and domestic life on campus, let us focus our attention to school spirit. In 1909, Hugo Bezdek coached the football team for the university. The original mascot of the university was the Cardinals. During his recounting of a 16-0 win over the LSU Tigers, Bezdek said that the team played like a wild band of Razorback hogs. The name resonated with students and newspapers, and from that moment forward, Arkansas teams were known as the Razorbacks. Razorback fans have always exhibited a lot of passion for Razorback athletics and school spirit. And along with fellow residence hall members, students could band together and show their Razorback spirit through homecoming float and banner decorations. Students that lived in Gregson, Humphreys, or Yoakum were treated to bird's-eye views during football games. Pursuing a post-secondary degree helps college students develop as a well-rounded scholar. But in addition to that, colleges, especially in the context of residence halls, help develop college kids into college men and women. Well-rounded citizens ready to face whatever the world has to offer. By looking at the residential life and history of the first 100 years of the University of Arkansas, one can now see how housing helped the students on the hill of Fayetteville, Arkansas, contribute to the Razorback spirit.